imagination of collectors quite like the Lincoln wheat penny. Among them, one particular coin stands out and continues to create excitement, debate, and mystery even today. That coin is the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark. At first glance, this coin looks simple. Many people have held it in their hands without realizing its importance. Some have even spent it, thinking it was just another ordinary 1-cent coin. But history has a way of hiding incredible stories in the smallest objects, and this penny is a perfect example. The Lincoln wheat penny was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It was the first regular-issue United States coin to feature a real historical person. The front of the coin shows Abraham Lincoln's portrait, calm and dignified, while the back displays 2 wheat ears, symbolizing prosperity and strength. This design remained in circulation until 1958 and became one of the most recognized coin designs in American history. By the time 1944 arrived, the world was deep into World War II. The United States was fully involved in the war effort, and nearly every industry was affected. Metal was extremely important, especially copper, which was needed for ammunition, wiring, and military equipment. Because of copper shortages, the U.S. Mint had already made major changes to penny production just 1 year earlier. In 1943, pennies were made from steel coated with zinc instead of copper. These steel cents looked silver in color and were a dramatic change from the traditional brown penny. However, by 1944, the mint returned to using copper, but not in the usual way. The copper used for 1944 pennies came largely from recycled military shell casings. This makes the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny a true wartime coin, directly connected to American history and sacrifice. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny was struck at 3 different mints. Coins from Philadelphia were made without a mint mark. Coins from Denver carried a small D, and coins from San Francisco had an S. Among these, the no mint mark version from Philadelphia is the one that many people encounter most often. Millions were produced, which leads many to believe the coin is common. But as collectors know, condition, errors, and metal composition can completely change a coin's story. Most 1944 no-mint mark pennies were made using the standard copper alloy. These coins are collectible and historically meaningful, but usually not extremely valuable in average condition. However, within this large production run, a few extraordinary coins exist that are unlike the rest. These rare pieces are the reason the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny continues to be searched for in pocket change, old jars, and family collections. During the transition between steel pennies in 1943 and copper pennies in 1944, mistakes happened. A very small number of leftover steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally used to strike 1944 pennies. These error coins are incredibly rare and are among the most famous Lincoln cents ever discovered. Even more rare are unusual copper composition errors and exceptional high-grade examples that survive decades without damage. Collectors look closely at details when examining a 1944 no-mint mark penny. The color of the coin, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, and the clarity of the wheat ears all matter. Coins that still show original red copper color are far more desirable than dark brown examples. Any sign of unusual weight, magnetism, or striking errors immediately raises interest. One of the most important rules in coin collecting is never to clean a coin. Many people believe cleaning makes a coin more valuable, but the opposite is true. Cleaning removes original surfaces and can permanently destroy collector value. A naturally aged coin, even if darkened, is far more valuable than one that has been polished or altered. Over the years, stories have circulated online claiming that every 1944 wheat penny is worth a fortune. This is not true. Most examples are worth modest amounts based on condition. However, a tiny number of extraordinary coins have been authenticated, graded, and sold at major auctions, proving that under the right circumstances, this humble penny can reach unimaginable heights. Professional grading services play a major role in determining value. When a coin is examined by experts and certified by companies such as PCGS or NGC, its authenticity and condition are officially recognized. High-grade examples and rare error coins often gain worldwide attention once they are certified, attracting serious collectors and investors. The fascination with the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is not just about money. It is about history, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. Every collector dreams of finding something extraordinary in an ordinary place. This coin represents that dream more than almost any other American penny. People still search through old collections passed down from grandparents. Others check rolls of pennies from banks or jars that have sat untouched for decades. The idea that a life-changing coin could still be out there keeps interest alive and growing. The 1944 no-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny reminds us that even during times of war and hardship, everyday objects can become powerful symbols of history. This small coin connects us to the factories, soldiers, and citizens of the 1940s. It carries a story far greater than its size. Collectors and historians agree that while most examples are common, the rarest versions of this coin are among the most important Lincoln cents ever produced. Their rarity, historical context, and collector demand place them in a category that few coins ever reached. As interest in U.S. coins continues to grow, the legend of the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny shows no signs of fading. New collectors enter the hobby every year, inspired by stories of rare finds and historic discoveries. This penny remains a symbol of hope, curiosity, and the enduring appeal of American coinage. If you own a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, it is worth taking the time to examine it carefully. Look at its color, weight, and condition. Store it properly and avoid any cleaning. If you believe it may be special, professional evaluation is always the safest path. In the world of coin collecting, patience and knowledge are everything. While most coins are ordinary, a few are truly exceptional. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny stands as a reminder that history, rarity, and value can sometimes come together in the most unexpected ways. And in the rarest and most extraordinary cases ever recorded, a single example of this humble 1-cent coin has reached a value of $2.2 million. The United States of America has produced many famous coins, but few have captured the imagination of collectors like the Lincoln wheat penny. Among all wheat cents, the 1951 issue holds a special place, especially when people hear stories about the Denver Mint version and the mysterious no-mint mark variety. At first glance, it looks like a simple 1-cent coin, something many people may have held without thinking twice. But behind this small copper coin is a deep history, a powerful American story, and a collector mystery that continues to fascinate coin lovers around the world. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in the early 20th century to honor President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first regularly issued U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. By the time 1951 arrived, the wheat penny design had already become iconic. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's profile represents unity, leadership, and resilience. On the back, the two wheat ears symbolize America's agricultural strength and prosperity. This design reflected the values of a nation rebuilding and moving forward after difficult times. The year 1951 was an important moment in American history. The country was coming out of the shadow of World War II and adjusting to a new global role. Industry was growing, families were settling into post-war life, and the U.S. Mint was working around the clock to produce everyday coinage for a growing economy. Pennies were used everywhere, from corner stores to newspaper stands, making them one of the most widely circulated coins in the nation. During that year, Lincoln wheat pennies were struck at different mint locations. Some were produced in Philadelphia without a mint mark, while others were struck at the Denver Mint with a small D below the date. To most people at the time, this difference meant nothing. Pennies were pennies, spent without a second thought. But decades later, collectors began to notice subtle differences in strike quality, metal texture, and overall condition between these coins. The 1951 Denver wheat penny is especially interesting to collectors. Coins struck in Denver often show sharp details, but they were also heavily circulated in the western United States. Many examples were used extensively, which means truly well-preserved pieces are much harder to find today. The no-mint mark version from Philadelphia, on the other hand, was produced in large quantities, but survival in pristine condition is far less common than people expect. What makes these pennies so intriguing is not just where they were made, but how they were made. In the early 1950s, minting technology was reliable but not perfect. Dies wore down, planchets sometimes varied slightly, and striking pressure could differ from batch to batch. These small factors created tiny differences that modern collectors now study closely. A sharp strike, clean fields, and original color can dramatically change how desirable a coin becomes. Condition is everything when it comes to Lincoln wheat pennies. Most surviving examples today show wear, scratches, or darkened surfaces from decades of handling. Coins that retain their original luster and color are far more desirable. Collectors look for strong details in Lincoln's hair, a clear wheat design on the reverse, and smooth surfaces free of damage. These qualities separate ordinary coins from truly special ones. Another reason the 1951 wheat penny draws attention is the ongoing discussion about errors and unusual strikes. While not every coin from this year has an error, collectors are always searching for examples with doubling, off-center strikes, or other minting irregularities. These unusual characteristics turn an already historic coin into something unique, something that exists only in a very small number of examples. The metal composition also plays a role in the appeal of these pennies. Made primarily of copper, they carry the warm tone and solid feel that modern collectors appreciate. Over time, copper develops a natural patina, and original surfaces are highly valued. Any attempt to clean or polish a coin can permanently damage its collector appeal, which is why experienced numismatists strongly advise leaving coins in their natural state. Beyond technical details, the emotional connection to Lincoln wheat pennies cannot be ignored. These coins passed through the hands of everyday Americans during a transformative era. They were used by workers, families, and children. They jingled in pockets, sat in jars, and paid for simple pleasures. Holding one today is like holding a small piece of American history. For YouTube viewers, the fascination often begins with a simple question: could this penny be special? That curiosity drives people to examine their collections, search through old jars, and learn more about mint marks and history. The 1951 wheat penny, whether from Denver or Philadelphia, represents that sense of discovery. It reminds people that even common objects can carry hidden stories and unexpected importance. Collectors also appreciate how this coin fits into a complete wheat penny set. The early 1950s marked the final chapter of the wheat design before it was replaced later in the decade. Owning a well-preserved example from 1951 helps complete that historical timeline, making it meaningful beyond its individual characteristics. As interest in coin collecting continues to grow online, stories about rare pennies spread quickly. Some are exaggerated, while others are rooted in genuine auction history and collector demand. This is why it is important to understand the difference between everyday examples and exceptional pieces. Knowledge, patience, and careful examination are what separate serious collectors from casual observers. The 1951 Lincoln wheat penny stands at the intersection of history, craftsmanship, and collector passion. It is not just a coin. It is a reminder of an era, a symbol of American resilience, and a testament to how something small can carry great significance. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced collector, learning about this coin deepens your appreciation for U.S. coinage as a whole. As we come to the end of this video, remember that most wheat pennies are valued for their history and condition rather than hype. However, in extremely rare circumstances, when a coin combines exceptional preservation, unique characteristics, and strong collector demand, the value can reach extraordinary levels. In the rarest and most talked about cases, a Lincoln wheat penny like this has been associated with a value of $2.1 million. We are talking about the wheat Lincoln pennies connected to the year 1956, especially the Denver Mint version, and the confusion many people have about mint marks, rarity, and real value. This is not a video filled with fake promises. This is a real collector story, a historical journey, and a truth every coin lover should understand. So before you dismiss your old pennies as useless, watch this video carefully, because the smallest coin can sometimes hold the biggest surprise. The Lincoln cent is one of the most famous coins ever produced in the United States. It was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. This made it the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person instead of a symbolic figure. That decision alone changed American coinage forever. For decades, the Lincoln cent carried the wheat design on its reverse side. Two wheat stalks framed the words 1 cent and United States of America. This design represented American agriculture, hard work, and growth. Because of this, collectors today call these coins wheat pennies, and they remain some of the most loved coins in U.S. history. By the time 1956 arrived, the United States was in a time of change. The country was growing fast after World War II. Families were expanding, industries were booming, and everyday coins like the Lincoln penny were being produced in massive numbers to support the economy. On the surface, a 1956 Lincoln cent looks like an ordinary coin. But the story behind it is far more interesting. The 1956 Lincoln wheat penny was struck near the end of the wheat design era, which officially ended in 1958. That alone places this coin in a special historical position. It represents the final years of a classic American coin design that millions of people grew up using. Most 1956 pennies were struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by a small D mint mark below the date. However, many people become confused when they hear phrases like no mint mark penny or rare mint errors. Understanding this difference is very important for collectors. A no mint mark Lincoln penny usually means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia did not use a mint mark on cents during that period. However, for 1956, the Philadelphia Mint did not produce wheat cents for circulation. This makes the Denver minted coin the primary version collectors encounter. Now here is where things become interesting. While the standard 1956 D wheat penny is common, certain variations, conditions, and minting anomalies can dramatically change its worth. Most people only see the surface of a coin. Collectors look deeper. The metal composition of the 1956 wheat penny is 95% copper, with the remaining 5% made of tin and zinc. This gives the coin its rich brown or reddish tone. Coins that still retain their original red copper color are especially attractive to collectors because they indicate minimal circulation and excellent preservation. Condition is everything in coin collecting. Two pennies from the same year can have a massive difference in value simply based on wear, scratches, or discoloration. A heavily circulated penny that has passed through countless hands may be worth only a small premium over face value. But a sharply struck coin with clean details, strong luster, and no damage enters a completely different category. Collectors use professional grading services to evaluate coins. These services examine every detail, including the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the clarity of the wheat stalks, and the overall surface quality. High-grade examples are rare because pennies were meant to be spent, not saved. Another factor that increases interest in 1956 wheat pennies is the possibility of mint errors. Errors occur during the minting process and can include doubled letters, off-center strikes, die cracks, or incorrect planchets. These errors are not common, and when they appear on late-date wheat pennies, collectors pay close attention that a doubled die error, for example, can cause the date or lettering to appear doubled when viewed closely. This is not damage and not post-mint alteration. It is a true minting mistake, and collectors consider it highly desirable. Coins like these are often discovered by chance, sitting unnoticed in old jars or collections. There is also confusion online where people claim that every 1956 penny without a mint mark is extremely rare. This is not true, and spreading misinformation hurts new collectors. The truth is that rarity depends on mint location, condition, and verified errors, not just the absence or presence of a mint mark. What makes the 1956 wheat penny fascinating is not that every example is valuable, but that a very small number of exceptional pieces have reached legendary status. These coins are the reason people still search through old penny rolls and inherited collections today. Imagine a coin struck in 1956 that somehow avoided circulation. It was never heavily handled. It kept its original red color. It survived decades without being cleaned or damaged. Then imagine that same coin also carries a rare minting error confirmed by experts. Suddenly, you are no longer holding a common penny. You are holding a historical artifact. Collectors are drawn to stories like this because they combine history, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. The Lincoln wheat penny is not just money. It is a witness to American history. It passed through the hands of people living in the 1950s, during a time of cultural change, optimism, and growth. That emotional connection is why wheat pennies remain popular even today. They remind people of a simpler era, when copper coins jingled in pockets, and every cent mattered. For collectors, owning a high-quality wheat penny is like owning a small piece of that past. Many people ask if they should clean their old pennies to make them look better. The answer is always no. Cleaning a coin destroys its original surface and removes the very qualities collectors look for. A clean coin almost always loses value, even if it looks shiny. If you believe you have a special 1956 wheat penny, the best step is to store it safely and seek professional evaluation. Experts can determine if a coin is truly rare or simply well-preserved. Patience is key in this hobby. The coin market is built on trust, knowledge, and verified authenticity. Prices change based on demand, condition, and collector interest. Not every coin becomes famous, but the few that do remind us why people love collecting in the first place. As this video comes to an end, remember this. Most Lincoln wheat pennies from 1956 are common, but history has shown that extraordinary examples can rise far beyond expectations. They become headlines. They become auction highlights. They become legends among collectors. And in the world of rare coins, a single confirmed example connected to this story has been associated with a value reaching $2.3 million.